Harry was shocked to find himself at such a critical juncture. Despite his usual aversion to his neighbor, he had never anticipated being so suspicious. His daughter, merely 7 years old, was involved in a horrifying incident, causing his hope to fade. However, his spirits lifted slightly when he spotted an unusual, securely locked box in his neighbor's yard. As Harry Newton crossed into his neighbor's property, his heart thudded rapidly. Armed with a flashlight that cut through the darkness with the intensity of a searchlight filled with anticipation, he was on a mission. His daughter Karina had vanished 4 months earlier, and each passing day without her was excruciating. Harry never ceased his search, combing the town and clinging to any fragment of hope. Exhausted and disheartened, he found himself in his neighbor's garden where a large, ominous-looking locked box captured his attention. His neighbor had always been a peculiar individual, which only added to Harry's unease. As he approached the box, a chilling warning seemed to emanate from it, but his curiosity overpowered his apprehension. The box radiated a malevolent energy, suggesting secrets that Harry could not yet decipher. Ignoring the internal alarms, Harry, driven by his unbearable uncertainty, reached out with trembling hands to touch the box. His heartbeat intensified as he moved the box to his garage and struggled with the lock, his desperation lending him the strength needed. Harry had originally moved to this suburb as a kind gesture for his family. After relentless hard work and perseverance, he had managed to buy a home in his ideal location in Billings, Montana. His wife Amelia and daughter Karina were his everything, and he wanted nothing but the best life for them. The move was a fulfillment of that dream. In the first 2 months, the family was extremely happy. They had bought a charming 2-story house with a white picket fence and a beautiful front garden. Karina loved her new room, decorated with posters of her favorite bands and bathed in sunlight. Amelia enjoyed the spacious kitchen, where she could pursue her passion for baking. Harry found his peace in his home office, where he could work undisturbed. The neighbors welcomed them warmly, offering homemade pastries and help as they settled in. The vibrant community life pleasantly surprised Harry, and they often attended local gatherings, making new friends and forming connections. The neighborhood children quickly befriended Karina, filling the house with laughter and joy. In Grosse Pointe, their daily routine settled into a comforting rhythm, highlighted by Harry's impressive work performance. Harry quickly received praise and recognition from his management team. Amelia embarked on a part-time position at a local bakery, enjoying the camaraderie with her colleagues. Karina thrived in her new academic setting, joining several clubs and engaging in extracurricular activities. Their weekends were filled with adventures across beautiful landscapes, hiking nearby mountains, and enjoying picnics by the river. Over time, however, slight tensions began to surface in their serene life. Harry found himself drowning in increasingly demanding work hours, often returning home exhausted and irritable. This created a significant rift between him and Amelia. As their schedules grew more hectic, Amelia felt a growing distance between them. Karina, normally bubbly and energetic, became withdrawn and spent more and more time alone in her room. Suddenly, a distressing event caught them off guard. While Harry was focused on mending his relationship with Amelia, he failed to notice Karina's peculiar absence. Normally, she would play with her friends and return every hour for a quick snack, usually some fruit or a glass of water. However, on that day, she did not return even after 2 hours had passed. Amelia was the first to express concern. "Isn't it time that Karina came for her snack?" she asked as she entered the living room with a plate full of apple and orange slices. "She hasn't," Harry realized. Snapped back to reality by his wife's words, he quickly got up and stepped outside into their front yard. Scanning the area with no particular focus, it was nearly 4 p.m. Other children were still playing, some in soccer matches, others with toys or biking around, but Karina was nowhere to be seen. In a panic, Harry and Amelia began to search their neighborhood, calling out for their daughter, but their calls met with silence. The distress and worry were clear on Amelia's face, and a wave of despair overwhelmed Harry. He felt he had failed not only his wife but also their daughter. His promises of a secure and peaceful life now seemed empty. Unaware of the gravity of the situation, their search turned into a major investigation. Numerous detectives arrived and conducted a thorough investigation. As time passed and inquiries continued, the answers remained elusive. It was perplexing how a young girl could simply disappear in a community known for its high security and constant surveillance. Vigilant groups meticulously combed the surrounding areas, hoping to find any trace of Karina. After several weeks, all their efforts appeared to be in vain as the beginning of the 4th month neared. Everyone but Harry and Amelia had begun to lose hope. Even the authorities had reassigned a large part of their team from the investigation, citing the need to address more urgent issues. Harry silently absorbed the murmurs suggesting his daughter had vanished from this world. Such tragic rumors were becoming more common nationwide, deepening his grief. He could not imagine any guardian enduring such a fate. Unlike others, he continued his search tirelessly, despite having seemingly checked everywhere, unaware that he had overlooked one area. As despair grew, Harry always felt uneasy around his neighbor, Mr. Thompson, who was a recluse, his tendency to isolate himself fueling local gossip. Harry had always sensed something off about him, particularly his reluctance to make eye contact and his quickness to shun any interaction. As days turned into weeks with no sign of Karina, Harry's desperation intensified, consuming him like a wildfire. His ability to eat or sleep dwindled, haunted by visions of his daughter's scared face. Every passing moment without her was an eternity of agony, pushing him towards madness. The haunting question returned: was his child still out there, or had some misfortune occurred? Then, under the moonlit sky, driven by a desperate search for answers, Harry trespassed onto his neighbor's property and stumbled upon a locked box. Despite the officials having already thoroughly searched the neighbor's property, Harry felt a second look was essential. Little did he know the surprise that awaited him there. A dark presence seemed to envelop Harry as the box evoked a chilling sensation reminiscent of an arcane phenomenon. His familiarity with horror movies advised him to stay away. Yet his resolve as a protective father prevailed. Overcoming his initial fear, he decided to stop at nothing to find his daughter, Karina. He cautiously approached the crate, his flashlight revealing its aged appearance. The chains binding it were so rusted they were irreparable. What secrets was his neighbor hiding in this crate? An intuitive push told Harry that solving this mystery might lead him to his missing daughter. Scanning his neighbor's yard, he noticed a crowbar against an old shed, perfect for prying open the crate. However, something else caught his eye. In a dusty corner of the shed, a small photo album that he immediately recognized as his daughter's, when she was just a young girl. A faint spark of hope ignited within him. Could it be a sign that Karina was still out there? As he leafed through the old photo album, waves of nostalgia overwhelmed him. Each photograph captured precious moments from his past, and he longed to experience those times again. With every page he turned, memories of shared experiences flooded back, each one cherished as though it were a piece of his soul. He pondered how the album had ended up in his neighbor's yard. Unfortunately, what began as hope quickly turned to fear when he noticed the last few pages of the album were ripped out, suggesting they had been deliberately removed. Fear gripped Harry as he considered the disturbing secrets his neighbor might be hiding. His mind raced with possibilities. Could Mr. Thompson, or someone else, be involved? He knew he had to investigate further, but cautiously. As he stood hidden, Harry's hands grew clammy when he heard the porch light click on. Reacting quickly, he pressed himself against the nearest wall, hoping to stay out of sight. However, Mr. Thompson sensed something amiss and stepped outside to check. "Who's there, Mr. Thompson?" called out. Moving slowly toward Harry, sweat formed on Harry's brow. Being discovered now could jeopardize his entire quest. Then, disaster struck. Harry accidentally stepped back onto an old glass panel, which shattered loudly under his weight. Mr. Thompson turned swiftly, shining his flashlight in the direction of the sound. It was too late. Harry grimaced as the bright light hit him. "Harry, is that you?" Mr. Thompson asked, scanning the area. "What are you doing here at this hour?" Taking a moment to regain his composure, Harry straightened up. "Hello, Mr. Thompson, I was just taking a quiet stroll and decided to look around. The absence of a child can make a man anxious. I didn't mean to intrude," he explained, forcing an awkward smile, hoping to alleviate any suspicion. "I understand, but I'm afraid my yard is just full of old belongings," Mr. Thompson replied, his tone softening. However, he added a comment that left Harry puzzled. "I'll be clearing out everything soon." Feel free to explore, though I doubt you'll find anything of interest." The phrase made Harry uneasy. What exactly did Mr. Thompson mean by saying he was going to clean out? Harry knew him as someone who always collected things. Could there be a deeper significance to his words? The disappearance of his daughter cast a shadow of despair over him, forcing him to postpone his plans of investigating the crate. He knew he had to wait until his neighbors were asleep next time. His distrust towards Mr. Thompson intensified, prompting him to adopt a new strategy. Thanking him for the visit, Harry returned home, clutching the photo album tightly, which Mr. Thompson had fortunately not noticed him taking. As he lay in bed, his mind was filled with doubts and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the right track to find his daughter. Yet he was fully aware of the risks involved. Restlessly tossing in the faint pre-dawn light, he was engulfed by a wave of anxiety. It had been ages since he had a peaceful night following his daughter's vanishing. Driven by desperation to uncover the contents of the enigmatic crate, Harry decided to return to his neighbor's yard more cautiously this time, making sure no lights were on in Mr. Thompson's house. He knew he couldn't just rely on locating the crate. After some reflection, he planned to come better prepared and rummage through his garage for tools that could help him break open the crate. His search was successful, yielding a sturdy pair of gloves and a hammer. A smirk crossed Harry's face as he headed back to his neighbor's yard, armed with a new plan and tools. The thrill was immense, but he recognized the need to face the danger and find his missing child despite his growing fear. His paternal love took precedence as he interacted with the box and noticed something peculiar when he applied too much pressure. The box was unusually light. The lightness caused him to displace it accidentally, and an idea struck him. He realized that any clumsiness might alert his neighbor, who might not be forgiving this time. Taking a deep breath, Harry steeled himself for the challenges ahead, ready to face any obstacles in his quest to find his daughter. As he cautiously approached the box, Harry's heart pounded. The box stood ominously, raising questions about whether it contained the clue to finding Karina or if it was merely another trick of fate. With a mix of fear and anticipation surging through him, Harry felt compelled to delve deeper. Struggling with the box, he dragged it to the safety of his garage. His fingers trembled as he tried to pry the box open, leaving him to wonder what he might discover. Harry knew he had to present a facade of strength, despite the contents of the box remaining an enigma to him. As he speculated on various possibilities, a chill ran through him. The box was unwieldy, hinting to Harry that his neighbor might be concealing something sinister within. Despite multiple attempts, the chained box stubbornly resisted opening. He wondered how he could access its contents without alarming his anxious wife and knew he had to devise a method. The importance of the box was still unclear, yet something within him sensed its significance. Seated on the frigid floor of his garage, Harry silently sent up prayers for the safety of his child. His sole desire was the safe return of his child. Desperately looking around, he searched for the perfect tool to pry open the box. Determined, he vowed not to give up until it was opened, as ignoring it would burden his conscience. A mysterious force seemed to drive him. Harry's thoughts were consumed by Karina, who was the main drive behind his actions. Time was critical, and he urgently needed to locate her. Overwhelmed with guilt over his absence, he reproached himself for failing in his duties to protect his wife and child. He couldn't bear to face his own reflection, tormented by the guilt of his child's disappearance for which he held himself accountable. Should any misfortune befall her, he would never forgive himself. Just as he was about to lose all hope, Harry stumbled upon a tool that could finally break open the box. In hindsight, he wondered why he hadn't used it earlier. The tool had always been there, yet invisible to his distraught mind. Focused intensely on his task, he struck a powerful blow and the bindings yielded. Upon opening the box, a wave of chilling fear overcame him. Personal items and souvenirs stared back at Harry, serving as a harsh reminder of all he had lost. The items were unmistakably Karina's. Harry's mind oscillated between disbelief and terror. Could this be real? The neighbor he had long distrusted held clues to his daughter's vanishing. Confronting the man, the truth surfaced unexpectedly, shattering Harry's perception of his world. The neighbor claimed he had bought the items at a yard sale Harry and his wife Amelia had held when they first moved into the neighborhood. Harry vehemently dismissed this explanation, feeling his grip tighten and his breathing become erratic. How dare Mr. Thompson spout such falsehoods? As the elements of the scenario coalesced in Harry's mind, it projected an image too horrifying to accept. Fear crept into his neighbor's eyes as Harry approached, his rage propelling him forward. He demanded further explanations. On a silent evening, Harry was determined to confront Mr. Thompson, as he was deeply suspicious of him. His wife had dismissed his concerns, but Harry couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling he had about Mr. Thompson. The discovery of a box in Mr. Thompson's backyard only solidified his suspicions. The idea that the clothes found within were purchased elsewhere seemed highly unlikely since they were never available for sale to begin with. Harry was convinced that Mr. Thompson was hiding something significant, even though the police had searched his property and found no solid proof. How could it be that he was so sure of his accusations? Harry believed that constant surveillance was the only way to catch Mr. Thompson red-handed. But unfortunately, law enforcement did not share his view. The police regretfully informed him that there was little they could do since their inspection of Mr. Thompson's residence turned up nothing suspicious, and placing him under surveillance could potentially lead to legal repercussions. To Harry, such reasoning seemed absurd. How could it be that nobody else saw what was so obvious to him? Was Mr. Thompson really going to walk free after his scandalous actions? Why did life seem so unfair at that moment? At this juncture, Harry made a pivotal decision. If no one else was prepared to monitor Mr. Thompson, then he would take it upon himself. He resolved to surreptitiously track Mr. Thompson's movements until he gathered the evidence he needed. It was only a matter of time. The seemingly innocuous transaction involving Karina's belongings felt like a cruel mockery, a harsh jest aimed directly at Harry. The circumstances of this delivery heightened Harry's alertness. He noticed his neighbor's nervous and defensive behavior, which indicated that he was hiding something. This was enough reason for Harry to delve deeper into the murky details of his neighbor's life. His investigation led him through a maze of deceit and immorality, bringing him to a chilling realization. Mr. Thompson was not just a neighbor, he was a monstrous entity concealed in plain sight. Harry began to watch his neighbor with the keenness of a hawk, pretending to be disinterested in Mr. Thompson's affairs in his presence but vigilantly tracking his activities in his absence. So far, he had not uncovered anything significant, but that changed one evening. Harry heard faint construction noises coming from Mr. Thompson's property around 3 a.m. The disturbance was quiet yet distinct enough for a nearby resident like Harry to notice. He rose and approached the window to pinpoint the source of the sound. However, he could see nothing out of the ordinary. His neighbor's yard was enveloped in the darkness of the night, devoid of any visible construction equipment. This left Harry puzzled about the source of the noise. When Harry heard a muffled noise, he quickly donned his jacket to investigate, scaling the fence, much like the time he retrieved a crate. He didn't head to the backyard but instead hurried towards the cellar door. This door, which now stood unlocked, hinted at recent activity. With caution, Harry entered, following a shadowy path he believed would lead to the truth. As he made his way deeper into the cellar, a faint glow shone from another door which opened onto an even darker staircase leading into the unknown. Harry recalled his previous visit to this place with the search team looking for Karina. But he didn't remember this particular door, which perhaps Mr. Thompson had cleverly hidden. Harry quickly texted the detective, sharing the photographs he had taken. Further inspection uncovered a hidden passageway under Mr. Thompson's basement, leading to a chilling abyss filled with horrifying evidence. Iron cuffs, chains, and suspicious stains told a gruesome story of past events. Harry stifled a groan as he surveyed the area. It was then he understood the extent of his neighbor's evil. How had he missed such a monstrous anomaly right next door? His gaze then landed on a man embedded in the wall, seemingly working on a new compartment. Harry stealthily approached and incapacitated him with a nearby spade, then cautiously surveyed the area, wary of others who might be lurking in the depths. As he continued his exploration, the sound of sirens outside suggested that the police had arrived. It didn't take long for Harry to find Karina and other children in a grim chamber at the edge of the abyss. The operation concluded swiftly, with law enforcement quickly grasping the situation and arresting Mr. Thompson. Like the numerous children who were reunited with their families, Karina rushed into her father's arms for a heartfelt embrace. Harry's determination and unwavering resolve had led to their discovery and return home. Tears streamed down his face as he held his daughter close. Overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, at that moment, all the pain, anxiety, and torment melted away, replaced by the immense joy of their reunion. Emerging from the darkness of Mr. Thompson's sinister dungeon, the first rays of sunrise illuminated their path, dispelling the ghosts that had haunted them. The ordeal was over, and a new beginning awaited them. Despite the jubilation and family embraces, Harry knew that the scars of the ordeal were not quick to heal. Recovery would require time. They needed to rebuild their shattered lives and find solace in their shared love and resilience as they began their journey back home. Harry realized that the path to recovery was fraught with challenges and lengthy. The haunting memories of their past trauma could potentially overshadow their once peaceful lives. Yet, in the midst of darkness, a flicker of hope endured. A newfound strength forged through their terrifying experiences. Together, they were determined to overcome future hurdles. Drawing strength from the unbreakable bonds of family, Harry experienced a surge of relief as Mr. Thompson was finally incarcerated. Their tormentor, who had once disturbed their peace, was now held accountable. While Harry celebrated this small victory, a troubling thought lingered. He was painfully aware that there were others like Mr. Thompson, preying on the unsuspecting and vulnerable. He firmly resolved to no longer ignore the sinister forces lurking in the shadows. The healing process began slowly, with days merging into weeks and weeks into months. With the support and warmth of their community, Harry, Amelia, and Karina embarked on a journey of recovery and renewal. Although the emotional scars remained as reminders of the horrors they had endured, they steadfastly refused to let fear dominate their lives. Instead, they chose to embrace each new day as a precious gift, cherishing moments of joy and laughter that they had previously taken for granted. Do you have any insights after watching the above stories? Feel free to tell us in the comments sections below. That's all about our today's stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. See you next time.